Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to week number 4 of A Winter of Woes with Dani Moonstar as the boss. Now before we jump on to the notes, let's discuss the objectives. The objectives are completed with the X Magica champion with Mutant, X Magica Saga. Can be Magic Thief as well, but it has to be a Mutant champion. Next one is going to be Small Size and Control Denial. These two are for the Paragon objective, and for Valiant there is another one that you have to defeat Dani Moonstar with a Mighty Avenger. Now the champion pool is quite small, so we'll go through each of them one by one, but let's look at the nodes before we jump into the fight. The node is going to be combo up, so every 0.2 second the defender combo meter will increase by 1, and if you perform an intercept the timer is paused for 5 seconds. Now with well-timed block you will gain a falter charge, and if you parry again you are going to get faltered. And there's also True Lies, so the attacker has True Strike, and since abilities have minus 100% accuracy, so you are not able to just bypass the falter. Prowess Puncture, each time the defender will gain a prowess, they will also gain a non-static passive impact charge that will grant 90% block penetration, so that is going to hurt really bad. And special 1 is locked, so Dani Moonstar will only throw special 2, which can be very annoying because you will really need to learn how to dex the SP2, otherwise you can't do this fight. And there's also power focus 2, so there's plus 60% combat power rate before you get to 2 bars of power, and after 2 bars of power you get minus 80% combat rate. And Dani Moonstar is special 2 bias, so is more likely to activate special attack 2. Now speaking of the objectives, the first objective we are looking at right now is going to be Guillotine 2099. Now she is going to fulfill the first objective, that is going to be small and control denial. Now when you start the fight with Guillotine 2099, don't use any armors, keep them with you because you need the maximum potency on your power burn. Now when the fight starts, just hold your block, do not parry throughout the whole fight. As you notice, I'm taking hits on the block, waiting for her to throw a heavy attack, and I'm going back in. Don't worry about taking more damage because you will have a regen that will trigger and help you, and also once you get above 100 hits you will do more damage and you are able to kill off Dani Moonstar. The whole premise here is always have your SP1 ready, and by the time you have SP1 ready and Dani Moonstar has a SP2, you power drain just like that, and she goes below 2 bars of power, she cannot throw a special. So ideally, playing this way, you should not allow Dani Moonstar to throw even one special. Now notice here she's down to 45% and my regen kicks in and I am at 167 hits, so I am easily going to out damage now as I'm not going to take any hits. I'm just holding my block, never parrying, that's very important, and the striker is also helping extend my combos with an SP1 at the end to power drain, so she does not have an SP2 and I can just rinse and repeat that. Again, do not try to intercept or do not try to just dash in. Let her come to you, let her hit you in your block. She will either use a 5-hit combo or she will use a heavy attack just like that, and you can go back in and retaliate and then keep throwing your SP1s. Keep her below 1 bar of power and you should be good, and as the combo meter increases you will do more damage and you should be able to take Dani Moonstar out. Just make sure that you do not use any armors before you start the fight and keep the power drain potency to the maximum. And because there's 80% less power gain after Dani Moonstar reaches 2 bars of power, so that will help you. Next one is going to be X-Saha Mutant champion, so I am going to use the Professor X. Now bear in mind, I am not the best player with Professor X, and at this time I wasn't really apt going in and learning how to dex the SP2, but I did slowly learn throughout this one. I think this was my 8th or 10th attempt with Professor X and I was able to get Dani Moonstar down. Now for context, I am running here a 200% mutant boost and also a 12% 12% special attack boost. the whole thing here is I'm just going to try and build up my prowesses. Once I reach 10 prowesses, then is easy game. Again, this is not one of the most cleanest fights, but this was the best fight I was able to do. So right here, all I'm trying to do is building up prowesses. Don't worry about doing much damage in the beginning. Focus on getting maximum prowesses and refreshing them. I do like a hash of a mistake here. I do not swipe back and refresh the prowesses at the end of it. I just block and I don't get a refresh. So I have to throw an SP1 again and then dash back for a refresh. So again, build up slowly, build up to 10 to 15 prowesses. Once you have that, your SP2s will do enough damage in one go, especially with an SP2 boost. So right here, just Dex, Dex, and Dex. You need to learn the SP2, otherwise she can be very painful. There's also a few more objectives where learning how to Dex the specials will be very, very important. So again, Dex. Notice when she picks her gun out of her back and tries to throw it in front, that movement of taking the gun from her back and throwing it on the front, that's when I Dex and I get the first Dex. And then the second Dex follows after like half a second, and then the third. So the difficult Dex in the SP2 is the one where she tries to pull the gun out of her back and throw it forward for the bullets. So that's where you'd press the Dex. So once you get that timing right, the rest of the SP2 can be evaded. Or what you can do is when she shoots the first bullets, you can block one or two and then you can Dex back. So that can also help out. So right here, Dex, 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 and Dex. It's easier said than done, but it's actually this the first time she uses a gun, that one is the one that you have to take care about. If you are able to do that, then it's much easier to Dex the whole SP2. So in the meanwhile, I've built up to 12 prowesses, and now I am going to try and build up to almost 3 bars of power, so I can go in one go and take her out with some SP2s in the corner. Another very neat trick is if you have a striker ready, you can use a heavy attack, and you can do activate a striker, so you will gain your cerebro charges on auto. I'm not sure if I've used it in this fight, but essentially hold your heavy attack, and while you're holding heavy, you use a striker. Even though you're not holding, you gain the cerebro charges in the same speed. So right here, we're getting close to it. I think this is going to be the last Dex, Dex, Dex. There we go. And now I'm going to build up to an SP2 with finishing with a light attack and throw my SP2 right here. There we go. Now start looking at that damage. Refresh on the back again with an SP2. There we go. So at this point, I'm not really worried because I know I'm doing some really good damage because I have 16, 17 prowesses. Again, I am not one of the best players with Professor X, so forgive me on that. But if you have some really good practice with Professor X, this fight should be much shorter. I think I took about 5-6 minutes, but this fight can easily finish off in like 5 minutes. The first time you get your full bars of power and 100 cerebro charges, you should be able to build up 7 to 8 of those prowesses, and then on the next one with some good SP2s, you are able to take her out. So here we are. Look at that damage. With all of those prowesses, I will keep getting back-to-back SP2s, and there goes Dani Moonstar. So that was objective number 2. Objective number 3 is going to be Mighty Avengers. Now I am not Valiant yet, but I'm just doing it as a showcase. So Mighty Avengers, there are very few champions. There is Luke Cage, there is Blade, there is She-Hulk, there is Photon. So needless to say, Photon by far is the best with her damage, and she's also quite tanky. Again, you will need to learn the Dex on SP2. The Q that I use, I wait for Dani Moonstar to pull her gun from the back, and before she throws it forward, that's when I Dex. So Dex, that's my cue when to Dex the first hit, and then the second and third you can easily Dex on the same timing. But where mostly it's messed up is the first time she removes a gun. You need to learn how to Dex that. So right here, Dex, Dex, and Dex. That's what goes in my mind when I'm thinking about it. So having that out of the way, Photon does do a lot of damage. All you need to do is to build up to first almost 3 bars of power, and once you have around 24-25 charges, pure light charges, you can throw your SP2, and after that just spam SP1 and do all of that damage. Again, for this to be successful, you need to learn how to dex the SP2. That's very important, because there's going to be no power control here. But Photon is really cool in a way that if she gets stunned, or if you use a parry, you can also cause the hits to miss. But I didn't use any of that. I was like, you know what, I will just go old school and try to dex everything, because that is much more reliant. I don't have to bring in another mechanic into the game. So yeah, that's pretty much it with Dani Moonstar, taking her out. I would say this was the second challenging fight in these 4 weeks. The first one was, of course, the Absorbing Man, and this is the second one that was a bit more challenging. But again, spend some time, learn how to dex the SP2, and you should be good. Now, there is going to be another objective. I will do a separate video on it. Is to take Dani Moonstar out with a deathless guillotine, and you get a dupe on her. Now, that objective is very important if you already have a 7-star guillotine deathless. So to get that done, I will be doing a separate video on that, so keep an eye out on that. And yeah, again, just to recap, you have 3 objectives. Number 1 is going to be small and control denier. Number 2 is going to be X-Saha with the Mutant champion. These 2 are for your paragons, and for your Valiant you have an extra one that is going to be Mighty Avengers. And then if you are Paragon and Valiant and you have Deathless Guillotine, there's going to be another solo objective for you, where you can beat Dani Moonstar with Deathless Guillotine, and that will give you a dupe on the Deathless Guillotine. So I hope this video was helpful, guys, and you got to know how to fight. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Again, find a dual target, learn how to dex the XP2. That is going to be the key for this fight. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will be back on the next one, taking her down with the Deathless Guillotine and duping her. So see you then, guys, and I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.